Hello everyone, I am Perplexality, and this is some Halo 4 gameplay, and we're going to continue my Art of War series. Now, before we get started, the Art of War series is a series where I talk about the Art of War. It's an ancient tactical book, and I'm applying it to Halo. And I've already done the intro on it, but if you haven't seen the first 3 chapters, I suggest you go ahead and check that, but this is Chapter 4. And Chapter 4 is called Tactical Disposition. And Tactical Disposition is going to talk about how we finish fights, and how we win them, and we go into win fights easily and consecutively. So I'm just going to start off with a quote. These first 4 lines set the mood for the whole chapter, so they are very important. So they starts off with saying, Sun Tzu said, the good fighters of old first put themselves beyond the ability of defeat, and then waited for the opportunity of defeating the enemy. To secure ourselves against defeat lies in our own hands, but the opportunity of defeating the enemy is provided by the enemy himself. Thus, the good fighter is able to secure himself against defeat, but cannot make certain of defeating the enemy. Hence the saying, one may know how to conquer without being able to do it. So what's he saying here? He's saying that in order to make sure you win, you have to make sure you can't lose. It's almost like if you guys are big fans of chess and stuff, which if you guys don't play chess, I suggest you try it out if you never have. But chess is a real game where you're really waiting to find weaknesses and chinks in the enemy's armor and stuff. You want to find the weaknesses that they give you. Because you can't just go full blast at someone, just spraying an AR, running straight at people. We've seen those guys. And what happens is they die a lot because they just give everyone the opportunity to kill them. While the people sitting back in the base, playing defense, keeping long range, keeping those power weapons on them, those are the guys who are making sure that they have as little possibility to die as you can muster. So they're going ahead and accomplishing the first part, which is putting themselves beyond the possibility of defeat. They're putting themselves beyond the possibility to be killed and for the enemy to kill them. However, they're also making sure they're able to kill the enemy when the time arises. So when the enemy gives you that chance to kill them, you go ahead and take it. Like if you're a sniper and you're looking at an open plane, you're sitting back and you're waiting for the guy to come to you. And when he runs back and he runs into that open field, you're going to go out and you're going to take that shot and you're just going to kill him right there easily. And you're going to make it quick. You're going to wait for him to run out and give you the chance to shoot at him. However, if you're a guy and you know there's a sniper out there, you're not going to run out into the field because you're giving the sniper the ability to kill you. So it's very important to recognize your roles, which is you want to put yourself in a position that is hardly able to die. And you also want to put yourself in a position that is able to get a lot of kills and be able to strike quickly when you have to. Like, see right here with the sniper, I'm sitting back, I'm waiting for the people to kind of come to me. I'm not really charging them head on because that's an easy way to die, and I don't want to do that. And if you play your tactics right, then you'll be able to carry out this quite well and easily. Now, he goes on to say, security against defeat implies defensive tactics. Ability to defeat the enemy means taking the offense. Standing on the defense indicates insufficient strength, attacking a superabundance of strength. The general who is skilled at defense hides in the most secret recesses of the earth. He who is skilled in attack flashes forth from the topmost heights of the heaven. Thus, on one hand, we have the ability to protect ourselves, on the other, victory that is complete. So he's saying right here that when you have defense, that you're standing in a very secret place, you're staying way back, you're basically making sure you're in a position where you can't be taken down. And when you're on the offense, you're striking out really quickly from that defensive position into an offensive position. You know, again, chess, very great example of how you just sit back and you gain momentum and look for it. Now, I'm going to skip a few lines. I'm going to go to one of my favorite lines in the book. Line 10 that says, to lift an autumn hair is no sign of great strength. To see the sun and moon is no sign of sharp sight. To hear the noise of thunder is no sign of quick ear. What the ancients call a clever fighter is one who not only wins, but excels at winning with ease. Hence his victories bring him neither reputation for wisdom, nor credit for courage. So what he's saying here is that you see all these like fights on of like wrestling or whatever. You see these guys bring out chairs and like really struggling. But I mean, those aren't really like the best fights or anything, even if those were real, which I'm not saying they are or aren't. However, if you look at a guy who goes into a fight and he just goes one punch, knocks the guy out, he makes it look easy, then you're terrified of that dude. You don't want him anywhere near you. So you're that where you think the other guy is incredibly weak. So when you're fighting in Halo, the important thing is to put yourself into a position where you're just going to easily take the guy out like one quick snapshot, end it real fast. You don't want to miss shots, you don't want to make mistakes. The cleaner and faster you make, the more impressive it looks. You know, it's impressive to make it not look crazy. You don't want to get the crazy reputation for like pulled it out at the very end and everything. You want to completely demoralize, destroy someone. Because in the end, that is really what you're looking for, is just a demoralizing defeat. Because if you go up against a sniper rifle and he just snapshots you one shot every single time, complete accuracy, consistency, like aimbot levels, you don't want to go up against him after, you know, 4 or 5 times. You want to say like, no, I'm not going to fight that guy. However, if you're going against a guy who's a sniper and you get him no shield and he just barely pulled off that last minute snapshot or something, you know, you're thinking like, okay, I could take this guy down if I try 1 or 2 more times. So you need to make sure that you're getting into the mindset of just completely destroying them and making sure that they never want to do it again. They just get sick of you killing them, so they just don't even want to be around you. So he goes on to say later, he says, hence, the skillful fighter puts himself into a position which makes defeat impossible, and does not miss the moment for defeating the enemy. Thus it is that in war, the victorious strategist only seeks battle after victory has been won, whereas he who was destined for defeat first fights and afterwards looks for victory. So again, you always got to keep that objective in mind, where if you want to defeat someone as quickly as possible, like in Flag, you're going to get that flag without even having to like lift a sweat, or break a sweat, you know, without having to lift a finger. You're going to go ahead and win that flag game. And you're going to go ahead and make sure you have victory in the head. So what everything you're doing is aimed towards victory, not through fighting. Because if you're looking to fight someone, and then it gets to the last minute of the game, and you finally decide, okay, I should get a flag now, you might not do it. But if you've been trying to get a flag from the beginning of the game, and you stay completely focused on that, then you might pull out the win. I mean, I've had plenty of games where I've gone like positive 30, and the other guys just managed to beat us because we weren't focused on objective or something, and it's really hurt us in the long run. So again, no matter how well you're doing, you always got to make sure you're pulling out these last minute victories and looking for the victory in the long term, and not pulling out the last minute victories, because those will really hurt you in the end. And he goes on to the last few list right here. He goes on to list a series of events that I'm going to describe bit by bit. So he says, in respect to military method, we have firstly a movement, secondly estimation of quantity, thirdly calculation, fourthly balancing of chances, and fifthly victory. He goes on to say, measurement owes its existence to Earth, estimation of quantity to measurement, calculation to estimation of quantity, balancing to chances to calculation, and victory of balancing to chances, to balancing of chances. So what he's saying here is you have a step-by-step process that you have to go by. So he's saying we have measurement that we're doing first. And how do we get our measurements? We gotta look at heaven and earth, which he's saying are the temporary and permanent things. If you guys remember back from chapter 1, he's saying that you have to look at your very permanent things and measure what you're up against. So if someone has a sniper rifle and you're on top of a hill, you gotta take all that into account. So he says you have firstly measurement, then you have estimation of quantity. And estimation of quantity owes itself to measurement. So after you have these measurements of what everyone has, you're going to go ahead and estimate, you know, exactly some kind of value or figure that will tell you what your odds of winning are. So you go ahead and take that. And then you'll have quantity to measurement. Wait, where am I? Estimation of quantity. Thirdly, you'll have calculation. So after you have these estimations of who exactly has what, you're going to calculate what your chances of winning are. And then after you have calculations, you have your balancing of chances. So after you've calculated all this, you're going to balance like, okay, now should I really fight him if this is my chance of winning? And then if you follow all this through, you have victory. So you have to check what the enemy has, you have to check what you have, then you have to go ahead and figure out exactly what your chances of winning are, and then you have to decide whether or not you want to act, and then you have to act. And if you do all this, you'll either have victory or you won't be defeated, which is one of the better things to say, because all these are broken down very mechanically, where you have to pay attention to everything that's going on in the fight. I know it's impossible, like even professional gamers and stuff, they have coaches that help keep track of like when power weapons are spawning, whoever's everywhere, who has what power weapon. Like they give guys like a partial amount of their credit and victories and money and all that in order to keep track of all this for them. So I know it's hard to calculate all this in your head at the last minute second, but you want to do your best to calculate exactly what your odds of winning are if you go this route. And then going that route, you have to make sure that you put yourself beyond defeat. You have to make sure you don't mess up at all. And then you'll be able to defeat them when the time comes, as long as you make sure you pull everything off correctly. And sometimes you might not defeat them, you might just not lose, which is also a very good benefit, because if you lose, then they're going to go ahead and pull it out from you. And we have the last two lines right here, which just says, a victorious army opposed to a routed one is a pound's weight placed on a scale against a single grain. So if you've ever seen scales, he's talking about the old scales they had 3,000 years ago, which is where you put a weight on one side and it would lift the other one up. You know, it's a balance. So if you put 1 pound's weight on one side and you have a single grain of rice on the other, then obviously the pound is going to just pull way down. It's going to be way heavier. And it's going to go down very quickly. It's not going to go down slow and balanced because it's so much more weight compared to the rice. So when you have an army that's set on victory and set opposed to defeat, they're going to attack quickly and precisely, and they're going to attack very viciously, like how the right would attack viciously at the rice. Just how the rice gets attacked viciously by the pound's weight. You're just going to attack viciously onto them and just destroy them. Because again, the whole point of this entire chapter is you have to make sure that you destroy enemies by putting yourself beyond the ability to lose. Because if you can't lose, then there's no possibility of any of this ever being a problem. You have to put yourself beyond the ability to be taken down and everything, and just completely destroy people when you get the chance. He says, the onrush of conquering force is like the bursting of a pent-up waters into a chasm 1,000 fathoms deep. Which is just saying that, you know, once you have your force, you gotta keep going with it, and you just gotta just let the momentum carry you. If you do this, you'll be fine. So again, this was chapter 4 of the Art of War series. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment, rate, subscribe if you want to go ahead and see more commentary like this and everything. If you want me to elaborate on stuff too, you can go ahead and feel free to leave the comments. I check and respond to any of the ones that I feel I need to. But again, just thank you guys for watching. Remember, comment, rate, subscribe. Send me a like if you liked it. Tell me you didn't like it if you didn't like it by adding a dislike. And just go ahead and tell your friends about it and everything, because it really helps me out a lot. And look out for other videos like this coming out in the future. Again, thank you for watching. ODSD, out.